Hey, welcome to Keight's Crafts. I'm Keight. Today I would like to share with you a gamer-inspired birthday card I recently made. Let's get started. Starting off, I have a gray panel of 65-pound cardstock cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going around the edges here with a little bit of Hickory Smoke and finding that it just isn't quite dark enough, so I decided to go in with a little bit of the Black Soot Distress Oxide to kind of darken that up, and then I'll take whatever's left on my blender brush with the Hickory Smoke and soften out the edges of the black soot so it's not too harsh, because I just want to create a bit of a background. This is going to be somewhat of a simple card. This is actually a card that I made for my better half because he recently celebrated a birthday. So I thought I'd recreate my living room with him playing video games. So once I've got that done, I will take some, I believe it was Into the Woods remix paper pad. I had gotten a bunch of sample paper pieces from Fawn throughout some of my orders, and I want to say this is the 12 by 12 that I'm using. I'm not 100% sure, but judging by the size of the wood grain, I'm going to dare say that it's a 12 by 12. I think the 6 by 6 paper pad, the pattern on it is reduced, and it's not as grainy. So here I have the My Favorite Things Wonky stitched border die, and I'm going to take that 6 by 6 piece of paper and I'm going to cut down the bottom of the edge, just following along my paper panel here. And that way I don't have to waste too much of the paper, because I don't have this particular paper pad. So this is just sample paper that Fawn sent to me in one of my orders, as they do with all orders, which is so cool, because you get to try out different types of paper pad. And well, you know, I'm not gonna lie, this has made me buy a couple of their paper pads. So, with that being said, I am using the wood grain from the Into the Woods Remix 12 by 12 paper pad, and I'm creating my wood floor because my floors are wood. Not the old school wood, which looks really nice. It's that, you know, every new house kind of has the snap together wood kind of thing, and it's not as light as the wood in our living room, but it'll do. So anyway, I've got the panel cut out here with the wonky stitch. I thought it was fitting because he can be a little wonky and silly at times. And truth be told, if I had actually really concentrated on recreating my living room, I share the living room with him in the sense of my craft studio is the other half of the living room. And we do have an old house, so our living room isn't that big. So yeah, he has one half of the living room for video games, and I have the other half of the room for crafting, which is nice, but you kind of got to keep it clean if you want to have any company. So here I've got a few images stamped out. I have got the chair from Virtual Friends add-on and the shelf from Perfectly Wicked, and I thought this chair fit perfectly with the gamer chair that he has. Oh, my YG09 is dead. Time for a refill. I'll substitute that with a little G14. It's a bit of a contrast, but I go back in and kind of blend that out a little bit better. But I thought this chair was perfect because it kind of matched his gamer chair that he uses in the living room. So I tried to recreate the scene as best as I could, so he kind of got the picture when he received the card, which he thought was pretty neat, if you needed to know. So I've just got some YG06, G14, and YG03. I apologize for them being kind of off the screen. This was like one of those mad dash cards that I was trying to make before he woke up, and he didn't see me make the card. So I've got some C7, C5, and C9 here, and I'm just going around the edges of the bottom of the chair to make sure that I can get a little bit of contrast with the shadow of the chair, because the bottom of the chair is I believe it's black and silver. I don't know. I usually don't pay attention to the bottom of the chair, but I had to look to do all of this, so anyway, just blending that out from darkest to lightest, making it as best as I possibly can with the small images here. And next I will use some E17 in E15 for the shelf, which he has a homemade TV stand, I want to call it, entertainment center stand, and I tried to match that color the best that I could, but I didn't really have anything too light. But I don't know, I thought using all this stuff was kind of neat. I haven't used the stamp set yet, and I kind of actually just bought it because he's a gamer, and I'm kind of a gamer. I do play video games. I like Baldo, sorry, Guardian of the Owls, I believe it's called, and I like to play Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda, and I do like to play Animal Crossing. So, do you play any video games? Let me know in the comments. I prefer playing the Switch. I don't have any other video game consoles that I play on, but he is a PS5 player. So, we have designated gaming hours in our house. So when that happens, it's usually quiet as a mouse unless you hear one of us die, and then it's, oh my god, the world's going to end. Anyway, so I'm just coloring the screen time monitor as I would a TV. Most TVs are the flat screen TVs, which are quite the opposite of the old CRTVs we used to own. We had gotten rid of one probably, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it was probably the size of a lazy boy, and it probably weighed more than me, and it was hard to get out of the house. I had a hard time helping him move it out so we could get it to the secondhand shop and, be done with the big old CRTV, but anyway, I've got some Y15, and I'm going around for the cheese and the bag of chips, and for the pepperonis, I've got some R46, and, of course, a little red light, green light, and then I have a little bit of E23 for the video game and the pizza, and I'll just darken that up a little bit with the C1, and then kind of lighten up the chip bag with the Y11, and I'll move those guys off to the side, and I'll try to get this guy as best as I can. I apologize for the marker lids being off the screen. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I am using a E49 and an E47, and he's got dark hair, so I'm trying to get it the best I can without leaving any gray streaks in it, because, let's face it, that's what happens when we get old, and I kind of wanted to make him feel a little bit younger than what he was. Not that we're old, but we're old enough. Adult gamers, if you will. So, anyway, I've got some E47 here and some E43, and I'm just doing the tip-to-tip method here with my lightest and darkest, because I didn't really have anything to go in between, and I wanted to give a little bit of a hair shine to the little dude here. So, and because I don't have an army green or an olive gray, I'm going in with some C7, and then I'll add in a little bit of G29 to kind of give it almost like an army green color, because that's one of his favorite color pants to wear, army green. I tend to wear a lot of black and dark blue pants because I work in a factory and things get dirty, so most of my clothes are dark colored, which is easy to color if you're coloring. But anyway, I digress. So here I'm just doing a shirt. I didn't do any kind of band shirt because you wouldn't be able to see the logo on such a tiny image. So I just kind of left it blank as a gray t-shirt, and we're just going to imagine that it's some kind of band t-shirt that he particularly likes, and because he's got his socks on, I gave him some little gray socks, and he's all curled up and I'll put him on his chair when he's all done and ready to go. Oh, and for his face here, I have some E53 and E51, and I'm just coloring in the face and hands with this. I'll start off with the dark and then blend it out with the light. So I had a lot of fun making this card. You know, it's kind of different when you have somebody in mind and you really put that energy of the thought of them into the card while you're making it. And I don't know, I was kind of excited to make it. I really hoped that he hadn't woke up while I was making this, because it would have been a little hard to hide, given that, you know, we live in the same house and share the same spaces. So I had to wait until he was asleep to make this. Well, he was still asleep when I made this, but I was being a little sneaky. So here I'm just taking a little bit of tape and figuring out what I want to do here. But the thing with this is that there's going to be a bit of a height difference with the paper, which I just realized now. So I've gone ahead and cut out another die cut of just the screen time image, and I cut off a little sliver at the bottom so that it sits on the back, and that way there's not too much of a depth discrepancy, if you know what I mean. So I'm just adding some glue and tape runner to the back sides of the images, just so I have them nice and sticky and ready to go. And I'll plop that on in the middle. Now, again, if I wanted to be true to what I was doing, there would be a crafter cane in the background behind him gaming, but I kind of wanted to leave the mess out. So, I mean, I could have put myself behind there, and that would have been kind of funny, like, hey, happy birthday, play some games, I'm just going to sit behind you and do some crafts. Which is usually how it always is. So, anyway, I'm just arranging things to see how I like them and where I think they're going to go. And I figured, you know, maybe I'll put the little cup up there. That way he's got a place to put his drink, you know. Probably would have been cooler if I had a pop can. I could have called it a beer can, you know. Have a beer on your birthday, but we're just going to give him a little fountain drink with a straw in it. And then we'll pop down this little video game console. It almost looks like the, oh, what do you call it? The Super Famicom, the Japanese version of Nintendo, the first Nintendo. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of neat the way the stamp stamped out like that. And it is I believe the Super Famicom is a top loading. I know the Super Nintendo is a top loading cartridge game. So I don't know, maybe he's not playing Nintendo, maybe he's playing Sega Genesis, because he was more of a Sega Genesis fan and I was more of a Nintendo fan growing up. So maybe he's playing Sega Masters. Let's get old there. Or Atari. It could be Atari 2600. I think the other one was Atari 5200. I can't remember. But my knowledge of video games is a little fuzzy at this point in my old age. But anyway, so I'm going to weigh those down with some stamping blocks just to kind of get them to stick a little bit better. And I'm going to plop down his little game controller here on the little armrest of his chair. So he's eating pizza, he's got a bag of chips on the floor, he's got his drink, and you leveled up, it's your birthday. I thought that was fitting. I really like the sentiments in this stamp set, and I thought that was really cute. I almost put this on the inside, but I decided to leave it on the outside, and I wanted to keep the card simple. I didn't want it too schnazzed up. Just because it was a birthday, and it's not one of the big milestone birthdays. It's kind of one of those in-between birthdays. So here I've got a little bit of Mermaid Lagoon, sorry, and this light blue cardstock, and I'm just going around the edges because it wasn't quite the color blue that I wanted it to be. I wanted to give it a little bit of a pop when I mount everything on together, so I'm just going around the edges with that. And once I'm happy with that, I've decided that I didn't like how light the screen time monitor was in the game console, so I just went in with some C5 and just kind of darkened that up, then darkened the blend up. You know, maybe he doesn't have all the lights on in the living room, and he's watching a quick video in between gaming while he's eating his birthday pizza. So once I've mounted that onto my panel, all that's left to do is to put it on a folding piece of cardstock. So there you have it, my happy birthday card. You have leveled up, it's your birthday. If you've enjoyed today's content, or found it helpful, please give this video a like. I also welcome you to subscribe, as I post weekly. Here's another video I think you might enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.